And welcome to the first installment of me doing a voiceover on one of my videos. Yeah, this is gonna be a first for me, so we'll see how this goes. If you guys like this, leave a like. Then I will do the next few like this, I guess. So first things first. It's mail day, and I got some new belts in. 60 grit ceramic Nortons, and I think the other ones were 36 Nortons too, but they were the black ones. It's the first time for me trying them, and they're amazing. So good. In that box I got some steel there, you'll see, and I'll start unpacking that in a minute, but one of the pieces in there is Nitro V. I'd like to try and start doing some stainless steel knives at some point, just stock removal. I'm not a big stainless steel fan, never have been, probably never will be. This is just, it's going to be 2 knives for a work colleague, so I still have to get some quenching plates, or the cool down plates, or the whatever you call them. And a heat treating oven, which I'm trying to save up for. But yeah, here we are, unboxing some steel. It's like my favorite. It's better than Christmas, let me tell you right now. As a knife maker, this is better than Christmas. As soon as you open up a box and you got some stuff. Right, measure these out. These are each a foot long, and I'll be cutting them up into 4-inch sections. Maybe I should do 3-inch sections. Yes, let's do that. 3-inch sections, weld up each of the billets, and then join them up after. I'm pretty sure at this point in the video, I didn't even know that I was going to do Mosaic Damascus. A little slow-mo action. Anyway, if there is ever any doubt, if somebody you know wants to buy a Mosaic Damascus knife, or is thinking of building one, or ask the question, why are they so expensive? I'm not going to say that my video that you're watching right now is testament to why they are so expensive, but this will give you a really good indicator on the amount of time that goes into these knives. And this is just a basic version of Mosaic Damascus. Just stacked all these up. I'm going to go take them out and clean them. And you'll see in a second I'll be throwing them into that acetone there. All of them are nice and shiny. I usually take my 60 grit ceramic and clean off all the sides, on both sides, on the pieces of metal. Throw them in acetone, let them soak a little bit, wipe them down, throw them in, dry them off, and then stack them up, get them ready for the weld. I mean, just this here by itself, just prepping the steel, that's an hour too, just for the steel. It's not even anything yet, it's just blocks of metal. I mean, you gotta cut it up. You have to sand each and every individual piece down, clean it up, wipe it down with acetone, get it prepped up, cleaned up, like normal, stack it, weld it, and then throw it into the forge to get forge welded. And the reason why I say that I'm pretty sure at this point I didn't know that I was going to make Mosaic is this is one billet of 32 layers. I had to make a second one after this. So, good thing that it was already all cleaned up. I just had to go and, weld it up like this. But, yeah. I don't know if anyone out there has dealt with this vise, this kind of vise, but they leave this little channel right in the end there. That's why I got that piece of metal sticking out to keep it away from the channel when I weld it up. Otherwise, the last piece of steel just drops in there. Right there. Very annoying. Anyway, I like encasing my end pieces of my billets completely in welding. Better for welding, or for forge welding. Keeps the oxygen from going in there. Plus, you'll be cutting the ends off in the end anyway. And you'll see in a second here, this is the very same forge I built on this channel. Still going strong. I've only had to add some refractory in the bottom once or twice. I keep coating it with ceramic coating though. That stuff's amazing. ITC 100? Yeah. Alright. Here we go. Okay.
first order of business is I will get that up to heat so I can get some flux on it, usually a dull red. Put it back in, get to a welding heat, set the welds on my anvil. Because if you just take it out, stick it in the press, it sucks the heat out of the bottom and top layers way too quick and you don't get a nice weld. So, set it with a hammer and then move over to the press to start doing the nice deep welding cycles. And then draw it out, stack, and try again. Let's do this.
Now with the power of editing, you'll see me put this billet in there, and 15 seconds, like magic, that thing is at a bright red. I left it in there a little bit too much, but anyway, I'll coat it with some flux, throw it in there, get it up to a forge welding temperature. I also do constantly turn it around inside the forge so it heats up all the way around evenly. I've seen that if I just leave it on its side, as soon as you take it out, the one side's still got a black core, kind of like this one, as soon as I pulled it out there. First weld will be set on the anvil, like I said. You'll see the very first clip where I take this billet and I put it on the forge press. You can actually see the heat being sucked right out of that billet, top and bottom layers, which is bad. I mean, it cools it down so quick that you'll get oxides forming in between the layers and you'll pretty much lose that piece of steel. I use the flat side of my hammer when I'm setting these welds, and I work in a circle. I'll start from the back closest to the tongs, work up to the furthest part of the billet, and then come back towards the tongs. I'll do this twice. First one, hammer strokes pretty much just the weight of the hammer, and then the second weld set, I'll put a little bit more strength into it, and then go to the forge or to the forge press. Also, just a piece of useless information, if you're into special effects, let a knife smith show you today, or a knife maker show you today, how to create snow on screen without it actually snowing. Okay, have a look at this. Look at the top and bottom layer. Instantly, heat sucked out of it. Core is still probably 2100, 2200 degrees Fahrenheit. Here I'll start squaring it up, start turning this, start playing with the layers, if I have to word it that way. Start turning them into C's. I'll do this weld or this set a few times until I get that thing turned into a nice square. You can actually see the old welding, the flux welding, or my MIG welder's bead still running on the layers there, which I'll be grinding out too in just a minute here. One thing I have to really reiterate, when it comes down to this type of weld right here, I'm pretty sure I did it a little bit too aggressive. It should be done slower than that. My dies that I use, I should actually shorten them up. They're not draw out dies because of the length. I should shorten them up so that they have smaller surface area to work on instead of the big long one. You'll see on the ends of this billet, it's still not perfectly square, and it's because of my dies. I'll definitely have to get that fixed up. But for now, grinding out all the old welding, because you don't want that to show up in the pattern, because that is not good steel. So better grind off all the MIG welding. That would set us up for success later for sure. So at this point, I'm pretty confident everything's been welded pretty good. Like I said in the start there, I had to start up a second billet. That one I messed up on big time. I was way too aggressive on it with the welding because I thought, well, I've done it now on my squaring dies, I know what I'm doing. And well, it did turn out good in the end regardless, but I was way too aggressive with the welding. Right now I'm just trying to square this thing up better because my dies, like I said, they're too long. They don't really give me a nice, long, even spread of the steel. It's got a big bulge right in the middle, and then the ends aren't even squared up. So now I'm just squaring it up with my normal flat dies here. and then flattening it out like magic. Must have skipped a few, didn't record that, but after this, pretty sure I had to get it thinner because I had to stack it to get the W's done. And the end of my that little bar broke off where I grab onto with the tongs. So I'm struggling a little bit here.
Oh, there it is. Little thingy broke off, so that last little bit I was struggling to get this thing flattened out. It's cooled down now. I had it in some vermiculite. I'm going to clean up these surfaces, cut off the ends, and do a test edge. Hopefully we'll see a bunch of C's. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah, no, that was way too thick. I had to thin that out. And so I did, which you'll see here in a sec. Threw it in my draw out dies, or the rounding dies to draw it out, and threw them back in the flattening dies, flatten it out, got the thing back to square, and then cleaned it up, and now I'll show you the test etch. So this is where we go from C's, and turning these C's into W's. Is take that, cut it into 6, stack them on top of each other yet again, put some welding on the side, throw it in the forge, and start another forge welding cycle. Now, I actually did not know that these layers pulled apart. Right there. I actually only noticed it now, while I was editing the video. But anyway, that went pretty well. It stuck, you'll even see in the next few clips, nothing lifted up again, so she stuck down pretty good. Welded up perfectly. Now, at this point I've lost count at the amount of welds we've done on this steel. And there's still many more to come. And like I've said before, slow and steady wins the race. Doing these things aggressively, just won't work. And you'll also see here with the squaring dies what I meant by I need shorter dies, not these long ones, because now look at the ends. The ends are still pretty much open. The middle is kind of more squared up, but fixed it up through another piece of angle iron in there to make the square a little smaller, and that worked out pretty darn good. But look at how it's spreading in the middle compared to the ends, and that is what I want to try and fix up. So yet again, back to the flattening dies, try and square it up myself, but then because this is a home built forge press, parts move too much, and that is a bad thing, especially if you want to do Mosaic Damascus, because now my beautiful square piece of bar billet is now turning into a rhombus, and I'm trying to fix it. I was chasing this for I don't know how long, but in the end I got it. It just sucks trying to fix it.
Okay, so step 1, stack up your layers. It wasn't as square as that when we started. It was nice and big. Used my flattening dies, got it to a almost square. It was nice and thick. Threw it in the squaring dies and started compressing those corners. That turned into this. Then took this, when it was there, long C's as you can see, flattened that out and we got that. Nice long bar. Cut that into 3, stacked them on top of each other, and squared them again. That actually turned it into this. So imagine this, but this point pointing to the top. This one there. That's what you're left with. So I just turned back on its side. So we are here now, right? Meow. The bars are in the acid, so I'll show you what's gonna happen next. But anyway, take this one now, again, cut it into 4. Arrange the pattern like so. And now we're gonna take this, throw it in the squaring dies, and hopefully come out with something Amazing. Yeah, there's one more forge welding session after this forge welding session. Okay, let me show you the pattern. There it is. Beauty. See, this looks like that. That. So, this is the first one I did, and I realized I don't have enough steel. So I made a second one. Where's that? Still in the acid. Something like so. So I'll take these, cut them in half, stack them like that, and then forge weld that.
And there they are. You'll see the white there, that is borax, flux. I made sure I got that in between the layers because this is the part where I do not need it, do not want it to fail. Because if it did fail, I would have probably quit knife making. There is just so much time and effort invested into this at this point that if it had failed, I would have just said, no, you know what, done. I'm selling everything. This is a little bit more on the side of, you know, I could give it a bit more juice while squeezing it together. The only problem that I saw is if I did it too much right on the edges, it would make these indents closer to the corners, which is really easy, or a really easy way to create cold shuts, 100%. So be mindful of that if you have a setup like this and you're squeezing your 4 bars together. But this did turn out pretty good in the end. Got it up, fully welded up, cooled down at the same rate, all 4 bars. So yeah, pretty stoked. 100% solid, a bar of steel. Now onto the flattening dies again. Square this thing up. I was aiming for inch by an inch, give or take, fully drawn out at this point. Yeah, you can actually see that that is solid bar of steel. The only problem I had at this point is I was squeezing or drying it out way more at the end than I was closer towards the tongs. So I think this is where I rectify it, where I start forging it more right there. Yes. Or on the next one. I said an inch by an inch. I can't remember now. I don't know if it was an inch by an inch or 2 by 2. I'm gonna say 2 by 2 inches is where I left the bar at before I put it back in the vermiculite to cool down and sent it in to get cut up for the flip. Yeah, here it is. Forged it more on that end, close to the tongs than I did at the tip, just to try and square it back up again. Oh. This is one of those projects that I'll look back and go, yeah, this mosaic thing is definitely not a beginner's thing for sure. There's just so much time that goes into these things. It is absolutely ridiculous. Ridiculous. That bar right there is about $250, $280 worth of steel. And I sold the knife for peanuts. But it's my own fault, because I have this thing where I will start a project and go, okay, well, I've done this a few times, maybe I should try something different. This was the something different. So money, I didn't really care at this point of how much I charged for this knife. I was more into, I need this to work, and if it did work, I would be really proud of myself, which I am, because you guys are seeing this video. This actually did turn into a knife, and an amazing, spectacular, beautiful piece of art when this thing got done.
Right, So we were left with this now. Big block of steel. I gave this to a friend of mine, asked him to cut it up. I did mention it, I should have written it down, but I asked to get it cut up in inch increments. As you can see, these are way smaller. So now we're left with something that is really sad. I'll have to throw these out, and I can only use these ones when I flip these down. There's the pattern, by the way. So we're left with that. Weld this to a piece of plate steel and go forge weld it up. These two, I don't know. No idea what I'll do with those. Let me just show why. Thinner. So let's see when I put it in. You're left with that. That is why it is extremely important to cut them the same size. So that is useless now. Can't use it. I'll have to only use those. Okay, let the games begin. And there it is. All of my forge welding sessions, all the hours I've put into this thing has led up to right now. So, we're gonna throw this in the forge and hope and pray that this works. Because if it doesn't work, I'm gonna cry like ugly 16-year-old girl at a Justin Bieber concert, ugly cry. All right, let's do this.
I'm smiling now because of how serious I was then, but it is it is so stressful. Like this is probably the most stressed I've ever been with any project I've ever done for any person. I mean, there has been hours, a literal probably days that has led up to this moment right here. And if this failed, yeah, I would have, ugly cried for sure. And then there's still the quenching to look forward to also. There's, oh my, people just don't understand. Especially, I've been one of the lucky ones that hasn't met someone that goes, oh, why do you charge so much for a knife, blah blah blah. Every person that I've sold a knife to are people that come to me and go, I want a knife, make me one. And if I give them the price, they don't even flinch or anything. Yep, good, do it, build it, make it, do what you can. But those people are out there that'll be like, why is it so much? Well, watch this video and try and understand. Everything that is built into 24 minutes of this video that you're watching is 100 times longer in real life to show you the end product.
Okay, it's a little dark here, but pulled that bottom layer off, some of it, the other pieces back there. This is going to be final weld, and then I'm going to let it cool down to grind the top layers of welding off that we had in there and hope we don't see any separation. So, here we go. Oh, right here. That's some old welding. We shall see. We shall see. We shall see. It welded. it actually welded. I had to peel that off, that piece of metal that I had it stuck to, which is kind of weird because it was clean. It was supposed to weld to it. It didn't. I'm happy it didn't. But there it is. I put this thing through a few 100,000 cycles of ferric chloride and then cleaning, and then acid and then cleaning. And I can't find any delaminations or anything. So we are going to go and turn this thing into a blade. I haven't really seen the pattern in its full mightiness. So at the end, when this thing's a blade, we can see what this thing looks like together. This is what we're left with. It's like 9 inches long. 9.5. Almost 2 inches wide. I don't know what the weight was at the start, but this is a fraction of what we started with. Like, I understand now why Mosaic Damascus knives are so expensive. The amount of care and steel and forge welding and prep work that goes into these is absolutely insane. It is insane. So, I'm thinking of making a sword out of Mosaic Damascus later. Let's go forge this.
And no, we're not going to forge that. Here's the 2 pieces we left out. You guys will have to wait for a part 2. I'll take these out in a second and put them next to each other so you guys can kind of have an idea what the final billet looked like. But hope you guys like this video. If you like the new format of me doing the voiceovers, leave a like, be awesome. And after I'm done here, I'll start editing on the second video where we turn this beautiful tile Damascus into a blade. Hope you guys have a good one, and I'll catch you on part 2. See ya.